I think we can start. Pradeep sir, shall we start? Participant will keep joining.
Then we can
Yes,
start.
sir. Yeah, sure. Yes, over to Pranita.
Yes, sir. Okay. A very happy Sunday to all. Good morning to Dr. Kulshrestha, our speaker for the day, Principal Soundarya College of Law, Dr. Rajeshri K, Vice Principal Sir, Mr. Vishwas Puttaswamy, and Founder Law Teachers India, Dr. Kalpesh Kumar L. Gupta, and all our dear participants. It is my absolute pleasure today to welcome you all to the final day of a 7 days online executive development program. Over the past week, we have navigated through enriching sessions and thought provoking discussions. Today, as we conclude this program, we are set to delve into a subject of paramount importance: future pathways for effective growth of higher education institutions. A special word of gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Professor Dr. Pradeep Kulshrestha, for joining us today and sharing their valuable insights and expertise on a Sunday, a day that many dedicate to rest and rejuvenation. Your presence underscores your commitment to advancing higher education, and we deeply appreciate the time and effort you have invested in this session is truly impactful. To all the participants, I extend my heartfelt thanks for your enthusiasm, engagement, and dedication throughout the program. Your active participation, even on a Sunday, speaks volumes about your commitment to driving positive change in the education sector. Together, let's make this final session both memorable and transformative. Today, I also have the honor of introducing our speaker for the day, Professor Dr. Pradeep Kulshrestha, Dean, Bennett School of Law. He is a senior academician with over 30 plus years of extensive expertise in academic affairs, legal research, and advisory services. He is an alumnus of Kurukshetra University and Jodhpur University. He has been awarded honorary doctorate law by National American University, South Dakota, USA, for his contribution to the field of legal education. He is also a recipient of the UP Government Merit Scholarship. He has authored and edited 21 books, 46 research papers, and conference papers. Dr. Kulshrestha has a passion for criminal law, due to which he has published a book called Criminal Justice in India, A Critical Legal Studies. Before joining Bennett University, he was the Dean, Sharda School of Law, Sharda University, Greater Noida. He was also with K.R. Mangalam University, Gurugram, as a professor and Dean, School of Law. He graduated in law from Kurukshetra University, Haryana. Professor Kulshrestha received Masters in Law and PhD Law from Jodhpur University. He has also obtained a Masters in Arts Political Science from Punjab University, Chandigarh. Dr. Kulshrestha completed 3-year postgraduate program in management with a specialization in HR from IMT Ghaziabad. Other than that, he has received many awards. He has also received the Great Warriors of Humanity Award for COVID-19 prevention by the International Human Rights Advisory Council. He has also received the Star of the Year Award by the National Institute for Education and Research and the Academic Leadership Award in Legal Education by the All India Council of Human Rights, Liberties, and Social Justice. We welcome you, sir. Thank you, and let's get started.
Thank you very much for your kind words. And it's my privilege to be part of this 1 week online executive development program on leadership and administration in higher education institutions. And I thank Dr. Kalpesh for organizing this wonderful development program. I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Rajshri and her faculty colleagues, Vice Principal Dr. Kutusaman, for all the trouble, because it's not easy to organize this 1 week long event. Preparation in advance, they start months in advance, and a lot of efforts go into organizing such events. And I'm sure the past speakers must have shared their wisdom, and that must have helped the participants. So my topic for the day is future pathway for effective growth of higher education institutions. And I will request for sharing my PPTs if I can share. 1 second. Are they visible now?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we know education in India gets a lot of importance, and we all are product of our education system. And education somehow is one of the must in India. Every parent wants to educate their ward in the best possible way. And education is contributing in a great way in the development of our great nation. So, if I can quote some great philosophers and their views on education, so I'll start with Swami Vivekananda. Recently, we celebrated as the Jayanti, that is celebrated as National Youth Day. So, Swami Vivekananda has worked a lot in the field of spirituality and education, and his works are very extensive. So, one of the quote which I have taken out, that is quote: "Knowledge can only be got in one way, the way of experience. There is no other way to know." Unquote. So he paid a lot of attention on experiential learning, and he was also known as wandering monk. He traveled whole world. He spread the wisdom of Hinduism, Sanatan, spirituality, and he's revered all over the world. And then our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, also has done a lot of work on education. So in his words, by education, I mean an all-round drawing out of the best in the child and man, body, mind, and spirit. Unquote. So he focuses wholesome education, not only for job. He's saying that education should uplift body, mind, and spirit. And then people's president, Dr. APJ Kalam, he was a great educationist. And after demitting his office, we all know he was touring a lot of educational institutions. And when he passed away, he was delivering lecture at IIM Shillong at the age of 84. So, in his words, the purpose of education is to make good human beings with the skills and expertise. Enlightened human beings can be created by teachers. So, there are different views on education. But as far as teachers are concerned, they create all the professionals on earth. So the role of teacher is very, very important. So we have to understand the importance of being on the course so that we can create professionals for the future. Now, I was going through, dictionary meaning of higher education. So,
Pradeep sir, sorry,
yeah.
sorry for interruption. Sir, the voice a little bit not clear, sir.
Not clear?
Yeah.
Should I speak louder?
Some clarity, I think some echo, maybe something. A
But
participant.
this,
Yes, sir.
you can check from some other participant also.
Yeah,
So
now
now
it's
it
fine,
is
sir.
clear. Now it's
Yes, sir.
better. It's better.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, we would
And,
also request you to put it in slideshow mode.
one second. One second. Just give me some time. That is a problem of, but some people are saying it is clear. Maybe some problem with your network also. Kalpesh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please carry on, sir. Yes, sir.
one second. I'm trying to put it in slideshow mode. If it is there, you just let me know. Is it better now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Slideshow mode you can view.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So, I was going through the dictionary meaning of higher education. So, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, higher education is education beyond secondary level, especially provided by a college and university. And we have a great tradition of, having great institution of learning in ancient India. So we had Takshila, Nalanda, Vikramshila. They were known for creation and dissemination of knowledge. And at present in India, we have close to 1,200 universities. So this is the breakdown. So we have central universities, we have state universities, we have deemed to be universities like Indian Law Institute, we have state private universities, and then total is close to 1,200. and the number is rising because every time state governments they give recognition to universities, and earlier many states legislatures they were passing a specific legislation for any legislation for any specific university. But now many state legislatures they have enacted an umbrella act, and under that umbrella act they are giving recognition to various universities. So this is a good policy reform. Otherwise, earlier it was a tedious job for every private university, especially to get the bill cleared, and then it was taking a lot of time. So, and when we see colleges, we have close to 50,000 colleges in India providing higher education. So, the colleges of higher education and higher education institutions are, in other words, are maximum in the world in India. So, we are most populous also now, though some people are debating that still we are few numbers away from most populous, but some are saying that we are now most populous country on earth. So, second thing is that the number of students. So, number of students enrolling in higher education is also growing at a good rate. And as our government is saying that India has to be Viksit Bharat by 2047 when we celebrate 100 years of our independence. So, if we have to be Viksit Bharat, then our graduate enrollment ratio, that is gross enrollment ratio (GER), should be more than 80%. Right now, it is not so high, it is around 25%. So, gross enrollment ratio is that how many students in the age group of 18 to 23 are enrolling in higher education, and that is, a ratio of population. So, though it is improving, but still long way to go. And policymakers are making efforts that by 2035, this ratio should improve to 50%. So we need more higher education institutions, we need more universities, we need a lot of efforts, and for that we also need more teachers, and that is also one of the great areas because being teacher is not so a high on priority of students because somehow teaching profession is not getting its due importance in India especially. And if we go to first world countries, teaching profession is one of the most sought after profession. So that is also an issue. So when we see the distribution of students, then government universities have 73.7% enrolled students, and private universities though they are picking up, but still they are far away. They have close to 26% student enrolled. Somehow, this is also a fact that for primary education or education up to 12th standard, parents are looking to admit their ward in private schools like DPS and other private schools. But when it comes to higher education, most of the parents are even students, they look for government institutions like NLUs or IITs, IIMs. So that is somewhere success of the government. That in higher education, they are maintaining the quality, and there is a big demand and supply mismatch also. So if we see legal education, the national law universities are able to provide seats to a few thousand students only, whereas more than 50,000 students are aspiring for admission. So there is a big demand and supply mismatch as far as legal education is concerned. And same goes true with most of the professions. So be it engineering or be it medicine. So there is a lot of gap between aspiring students and available seats. There, the private institutions they their role becomes very very important. So the challenge is how this private universities and private institutions will come to that level wherein they are also sought after institutions. And when we see globally, like Harvard and Stanford, they have private managed institutions, but somehow they have come a long way and they are maintaining very good quality. So that is also one of the challenge that how to ensure that we get best of the teachers and perception changes, and so that students keep private and government both institutions at the same footing. So let us see how it works out. Though there are some private institutions also which are doing good, but still the gap remains. And similarly, if you see the total number of teachers in the higher education system in India, so we have close to 30 lakh teachers, and out of them, 42% are female teachers. That is a very good ratio, and 58% are the male teachers. And FSR, that is faculty student ratio, is not so good, and there are a lot of vacancies. There is a dearth of talent also. So there are many reasons, and sometimes there are fund issues also. So many institutions, they are hiring visiting faculties, or they are hiring less number of faculty. This also affects higher education, because unless we have very healthy faculty student ratio, uh, quality of mentoring, quality of teaching will certainly be impacted. So I see now this is also improving in last 20, 30 years when we see, especially in legal education. When I was doing my law, the faculty student ratio was absolutely low in most of the law colleges. But now I see there are colleges in India which are claiming to be having faculty student ratio of 1 to 10, which is very nice. And 1 to 20 is many institutions maintaining. So this is also one of the requirements that we should have quality teachers, and then we should improve this faculty student ratio also, so that overall quality of education improves. And then we see number of PhDs, they are also going up, though the requirement is still heavy, but there is a progress. But progress in social sciences is not so good when we compare with computer science and other engineering disciplines. Now, Constitution of India provides a lot of emphasis on education. So there is a Article 246, we all are aware. Article 246 of Indian Constitution provides for distribution of law-making subjects. So there is a union list, there is a state list, and there is a concurrent list in the seventh schedule. And this list have entries upon which either Parliament or state assemblies or either of them they can legislate. So, seventh schedule before 1976, that is 42nd Amendment, this education was in the state list. But now they have put it in the concurrent list, that is entry 25. So, the benefit is that both central and state, they can legislate on education. Though the quality control by and large remains with the central government. Though state governments also have their higher education commissions and other bodies which are looking into quality aspect. But by and large, we see as far as legal education is concerned, we have Bar Council of India, which controls the legal education under Advocates Act 1961. Then we have Medical Council of India that controls medicine, knowledge. Then we have UGC, University Grant Commission, which grants approval to the universities to award degree. They also control nomenclature of degree, and they also control higher education, that is PG and PhD. So we have all these institutions, which are some are constitutional, some are statutory. They are making their best efforts to control the quality of the education in India. Then we also have Article 45, which is part of the Part 4 of the Indian Constitution, that is directive principles of the state policy. So unless we get good student in higher education system, the quality of graduating outcome or graduating students will always remain a challenge. So if we get good students from our higher education systems, then things will certainly improve. So as far as primary education is concerned, so this Article 45, when India became independent and Constitution of India came into force, it provided that state shall make endeavor to provide for free elementary education within a period of 10 years. So by 1960, this should have been done, but it was not done. And this, was the judgment in Education versus State of Andhra Pradesh in 1993. So something which was supposed to be done in 1960 was not done, and it was up to the Supreme Court of India that they gave a judgment in 1993 that this directive principle is a time bomb. So within 10 years, free and compulsory elementary education was to be provided, which state has not done. So in this case, the directive was given to Parliament that they should make necessary legislation providing for free and compulsory education. So subsequent to this, in 2002, Constitution of India was amended by 86 Amendment Act, and Article 21A was inserted in Part 3 of the Indian Constitution, making free, the elementary education up to age of 14. But the problem is when you see on the ground, up to age of 14, say a child is enrolling in a school, and up to age of 14, say he may be in class 8th or 9th, and if at that stage his education is made uncompulsory paid, so it may hit a child. He may not progress further. So there is a requirement now that this age should be raised at least to 16 years. Many countries in the world, they have this provision for up to 16 years. Then if we come to legal education, we have, as I was mentioning, we have Advocates Act 1961, which empowers Bar Council of India to control the quality of legal education. So Bar Council of India provides for, the courses which a law school is required to mandatorily teach. So we know that if it is a honors BLLB, BBLLB, or any other honors degree, so BCI says 38 law papers are mandatory and 12 non-law papers are mandatory. So it becomes 50. And then they say 2 English papers are mandatory. So 52. And 1 language, either foreign or any Indian language. That is a non-credit course. So it becomes 54. So 54 courses are mandatory for honors degree in UG law. But then I was in a conference, and late Madhav Menon was one of the speakers. So in that conference, Professor Madhav Menon opined that Bar Council of India is providing for minimum number of courses. That for honors degree, say for example, you have to teach 54 courses. So he said, what stops us from going further? So we can teach more courses. He was giving his own example that I made 75 courses in NLS Bangalore. But then the advantage of being in any residential school are many. So you can have classes late evening because teachers and educators are in the same complex. But this is not the case with every law school. So many law schools don't have residential facilities. So they may face the problem. And then the quality of visitor is also one of the aspects. So now with the National Education Policy 2020 emphasizing on trim and slim syllabus, so the focus is more on teaching less, not more. So that is Bar Council of India's role. And then Bar Council of India said if non-honors degree has been given, then 30 law papers are mandatory. So 8 papers are waived in honors and non-honors. And then Bar Council of India recently, we all have seen proliferation of law schools. Am I not audible to anyone? Are some people having this problem?
Maybe, sir, nearer to your device will be fine, sir. Because I think.
I'm very near. You can see my, face. Now better?
Yes, sir. Yes, better. So if you sit a little closer to the screen, your voice is a little better.
Okay. Should I do one thing? Should I switch off my video? That may help.
Maybe, sir, you can do it.
1 second.
Yes.
I'm extremely sorry. Now how it is?
Yes, sir, it's better now.
Better?
Yes, sir, yes.
So audience will be saved from seeing my face. They can hear me better. 1 second. Okay. So I was telling you, is it a slideshow mode only, perhaps?
Yes, sir, slideshow mode, sir.
Okay. So we see that recently there is a huge proliferation of law schools in India. So we have close to 1,800 law schools in India. And the Bar Council of India has told that they want to reduce the number so that quality legal education becomes a reality. So they are now identifying the law schools in India which are not following the minimum, norms of the legal education, and now they have started putting everything online, asking for data online. So let us hope that not so serious law schools will either will improve or will be given some hand holding by institutes which are doing good, or lastly, institutes will be transferred to some better law schools. Recently, I have also seen another trend which is very good, that law schools are, entering into memorandum of understanding and collaborating, and jointly organizing conferences, seminar, FDPs. Like in this case, we are seeing this is also a very nice collaboration between Soundarya Law College and law teachers India. That is, credit goes to Principal Dr. Ashwini and Dr. Kalpesh Gupta. So such collaborations are also happening now across length and width of the nation, where one and more than two institutions are coming together and they are organizing conferences, seminars, symposium, workshops, and they are sharing their resources. Yeah, so this is a good progress, because we need to collaborate. There is no other way. So more collaboration will certainly, provide more avenues to students, to teachers. Recently, I got a call from one of the law school, and they told that we want to have some joint collaborations. So and that law school is a very new law school, so I was pleasantly surprised. So we need to understand that this is also one of the area where uh, you know. Uh, institutions can join hands and they can do things better. Then, the legal education regulations, they are also very dynamic and they are changing from time to time. So now, recently, Bar Council of India floated a draft, legal education regulations, and in that they mentioned that we can have a mandatory faculty student ratio of 1 to 20, which till now is 1 to 40. So that will be another change. But when we increase faculty student ratio, say for example, right now it is for every 40 student, BCI mandates minimum one teacher. That is minimum requirement. One can have more. But when you have more teachers, it's a cost per se, because having more teachers is a cost. And higher education globally is very costly. So if somebody wants to pursue, higher education abroad, they have to shell out a lot of money, maybe from some amount around 40 lakh to 80 lakh rupees per year. So that is the cost of higher education. So when you increase all this, inputs, the cost goes up. And then again, how many people can afford such a costly legal education? That will be also a challenge. So when we come to challenges in the Indian higher education sector, so first thing is that there are regulations and compliances, as we were discussing, that we have to comply the minimum requirements, and as we go above the availability of teacher, the availability of students. So we are seeing many engineering colleges, they don't have admissions. They are facing issues, and teachers are being asked to go, because these institutions were opened when economy was opened up and there were a lot of job opportunities. Now job opportunities are shrinking, are they available only in few sectors. So mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, there are no takers, and teachers of these disciplines are facing loss of jobs. And then there is a funding constraints also. So somehow education is not on the top priority of the government, which is a very strange thing. Because when we compare education spending in India to other developed nations, or even to our neighboring China, it is way too less. And unless a nation invests in education, the nation can never be a developed nation. So if you see first world countries, Europe, US, they focus a lot on higher education, and somehow they have made it ecosystem wherein students from all over the world go to their institutions, they fund them, and they charge a lot. So they are charging their own students very less, and they charge very heavy students who come from abroad. So this is also one way of ensuring excellence, that you charge less from your own students and you charge more from the students who come from abroad. But this is good for top institutions. But how to do it in higher education in India? Though I have seen some universities who charge more from foreign students, but then foreign students in India are primarily from Africa and SAARC countries, and their paying capacity is also going down. So if you see last 10-15 years data, the number of students from SAARC countries are dwindling. So I used to see a lot of students from Afghanistan used to come to India on a scholarship. Now they are facing issues. Then a lot of students from Bangladesh, from Sri Lanka, they used to come to India to pursue higher education. They are also facing a lot of financial issues. So this funding remains one of the constraint, because unless you have sufficient fund, you can't improve higher education in India. And then government is spending on funding needs a lot of improvement, because unless government comes forward, somehow government is having their own challenges. So government is looking for private funding, and they are encouraging private universities to fund more. But then private education is prohibitive. Everybody can't afford fees and having denomination. But if you see, suppose a student goes to government institution and that student is paying only say 2,000 rupees fees in a year, and a student is going to private university and is paying say 4 lakh rupees per year. So on the face of it, it looks very costly. But the student who is going to government education system, he is not paying, but is funded through taxpayers' money. So the cost of educating a student in government education system is much higher than unit cost which private education system charges. So that is also one of the issues. So either the student is going to pay directly, or it is taxpayers' money in the form of social security which is invested. So this issue needs redressal by the policymakers at the highest level, because somehow when we see our education institutions, they are not ranked very high in global rankings, and there are clear-cut reasons for that. And funding remains one of the main reasons. Now we come to infrastructure. So when we see global education institutions, they have best of the infrastructure, because higher education per se needs very good infrastructure, and that also is a one-time expenditure, then maintenance cost, and then you have to go for maybe increase infrastructure or more campuses. So they are also one of the challenge, and somehow now we are in a globalized world. So it's a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So when we are in a globalized world, the student has all the options at click of the mouse. So we have to compete with the best. We can't be competing with the best with all this limitation. So we have to focus a lot on infrastructure, and infrastructure is a huge cost. There's no denying this fact. But somehow, some policies, some funding options have to be made. So unless higher education institutions, they are sustainable on their own, as is the case in other countries, then qualified manpower. You may have very good infrastructure. You may have very good learning resources. But unless you have good teachers, who's going to impart the education? Now, this is also one of the challenges, because as education sector is opening up and number is growing, and new universities are opening, but there is a dearth of qualified teachers and support staff. So when we sit in the faculty interviews, we find it very, very challenging to get right talent at different levels, especially at middle and senior level. there is acute shortage of teachers. We have, luckily, young dynamic faculty at assistant professor level at NDA, but there is a acute dearth in associate professor level and at the professor and senior professor level, even at dean and vice chancellor level. So this is a challenge, which I think maybe in next 5 10 years will be taken care, because by the time you will have more senior people or those who are junior now, they will become middle level and senior in the times to come. But right now, this challenge is very acute. And then, if we have to grow globally, we have to be in the rankings. So we know every year when QS ranking and Times Higher Education rankings are published, there's a lot of hue and cry that our universities are not in the top list. So they are not even in top 200. Now, this is something to worry about. Though quality of education in Indian higher education institutions is no less or not second to any other institutions. But somehow we are not understanding the game of ranking, which China has understood very well. So what they have done, they have opened good universities, they had foreign teachers, and now they are in the Kalpesh, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you're audible, sir. In between it, some disturbance happens, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay, that I can't help.
Sir. So over to you, sir.
Because I see the message that somebody is not able to listen. You can share this recording with them if some people have some issue. Because there is some internet issue, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir.
So to be recognized at world level that we are top higher education institutions, we have to be in the game of rankings. And ranking somehow is a costly business. So I have summarized because ranking NAC, NRF, QS ranking, Times ranking, they are huge areas where people who have expertise, they have spent more than 10 years of their professional life, and they have become very expert in these rankings. So starting with NAC ranking, so we know now NAC has done away with this A plus plus, A plus, then A, B, and other B plus markings. So now they are coming out with the new system. Maybe by in 2025 they'll announce the new system. But so far the system which most of the institutions have been ranked was ranked on the 7 criteria, starting with the curricular aspects. So in curricular aspects, a lot of things that how courses are designed, how they're developed, how feedback from the stakeholder is taken, and then after taking feedback, how it is analyzed, how it is discussed, how it is taken up to BOS, academic council, and how it is incorporated in the system, and then how regional, local, national, and global needs are taken into account, how the courses are mapped with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. So all this thing was taken into consideration while evaluating any institutions. Then teaching, learning, evolution, how mentorship happened, how slow and advanced learners are identified, how they are held in the teaching learning process, and then research and innovation and extension. This was given the highest weightage of 250 marks because higher education per se is research, innovation, and action and activities. Then infrastructure and learning resources was also one of the criteria. Then student support and progression. Then governance, leadership, and management. And then institutional learning and best practices. So these were the 7 criteria of NAC on which they were assessing our education institutions, and they were giving the gradings A plus plus, A plus, or A, then B plus, B, and there were a lot of issues that somehow people were rigging this criteria, and they were inflating the numbers, and some institutions were getting away with very high NAC assessment on accreditation grades. So now, in the face of all this, NAC has decided to do away with this grading system. Now they are only going to give NAC accredited or NAC non-accredited. So they want to encourage higher education institutions to come for NAC assessment. But they have helped institutions become competitive now. At least institutions are thinking of having more faculty, of having qualified faculty, earning the regular faculty, or giving regular increments to the faculty, promotions to the faculty, because faculty becomes one of the most crucial component in success of any higher education. So these NAC, NRF, QS ranking, times ranking, they are very good for faculty and resident because they focus a lot on having good faculty and student centricity. The next is the NRF rankings, which are also again they have their own criteria. So they have more weightage on teaching learning resources and research and professional practice. So they have 5 criteria and graduation outcome, that what happened to the student after earning the degree, and then outreach and inclusivity and perception. Now here perception is is a very subjective criteria, because if anybody is asking Jawaharlal Nehru University, everybody will know, or if anybody is asking National Law School, perception will be very high. Though some other school may be doing hard work, but somehow perception may not be that good. So here institutes which are already established, they somehow are getting more mileage out of this NRF ranking. Here also, many institutions we know they are in the top NRF ranking. So NRF is awarding in the legal education top 40 law schools. So in top 40 law schools, there are good law schools and there are not so good law schools. So there is a criticism that some institutions have understood the art of number games. So they somehow inflate the number, to somehow manage the number, and they are in the top ranking, though they are not so good in teaching learning practices. Then we come to world. So QS ranking are one of the respected ranking in world. So they give awards on different criteria, and the weightage, maximum weightage is academic reputation of the institution. Then employer reputation. So where students are employed after completion of their education. Then faculty student ratio, as I was telling, it is also 20% weightage. Then citation per faculty, 20% weightage. So here they are also focusing on research contribution of the faculty. Then how many international faculty a institution is hiring, that is also having 10% weightage. So here international faculty ratio uh, in India, we find our institutions are not so successful, because if any educational institution want to hire international faculty, then they need to have paraphernalia support system for those faculty, maybe more salary and better housing and other facilities. This somehow Indian higher education institutions are not in a position, are not have been able to deliver. Here, China scores very heavily. So they have had big number, and there are many institutions of higher education in China. They are in the top 100 list because of all these reasons. So going forward, what strategy can be put in place for quality and excellence in the higher education system? So first of all, we need to have a strategy, for developing our human resources. Because unless we have a futuristic approach, there will be difficulty. So for that, we need to have policy reforms. So academic and administrative autonomy has to be given to the institution. Unless we give administrative autonomy and academic autonomy to institution, it will be difficult for an institution to have policies, forward-looking policies, especially because otherwise they will be busy getting approvals. If they don't get approval, they will be tied down wherever they are. Then access to quality education is another you know question which has to be resolved. As we were discussing, that all top education institutions globally and even in India, they have access issue. So there are thousands of students applying, and seats are very few. All are not getting equal opportunity. One. Second, those who are socio-economic, weaker sections, they are having again issue. Though we have reservation policy, but still we find large number of people are not getting equitable access to the higher education. Somehow this is also an issue. And then we see there is a issue of gender disparity. There is a issue of geographical inequality among states. So some states are doing very well in higher education, especially southern states, and some states are very distant from the top states. So this is also an issue which policymakers have to sit down and address, because the states which do not have very good institution of higher education, they have to be taken care. Though of late there has been some beginning in this area. So we have Shillong getting good institutions, we have Assam getting good institutions, Tripura getting good institutions, but still the number is too less and requirement is too large. Then we also have inequality based on ethnic groups. So we have some groups getting more benefits, some groups not getting at all. So tribal areas especially, they need more attention so that they also can come forward. Unless all are part of this success story, India development story, it will be difficult for India to become a developed nation. Then, though we have now, economically weaker section reservations, but still the requirement seems to be more. Then I was going through the vision statements of the Ministry of Education. It highlights the role of affirmative action, because these reservation policies have helped people from disadvantaged classes to come up. But still, the I think requirement is too large, and so there may be more scholarships, maybe special hostels, meals, and other schemes. And these are extended to private universities also, but requirement is more. Then we need to focus on efficiency, because unless we focus on efficiency, we can't scale up the higher education ladders globally. So I was recently to good institutions in Europe, and I saw that they are well managed, and the people who are managing them are very dedicated and efficient. So if a conference has to begin at 9, it will begin at 9, and minute to minute they will keep the punctuality level. And in a session of 90 minutes, there were only 3 paper presentations and of 15 minutes each, and rest was for discussion on that paper. And then many times when we plan events in India, we are hesitant in planning afternoon sessions, but there they were having even after dinner session, and everybody was very happy. I didn't find anyone looking into mobile or distracting. So I think we have to have efficiency in our mind, or maybe they say the practice of being in the moment has to be practiced. So unless we practice mindfulness or being in the moment, efficiency would remain a question mark. Because what we do is don't follow, and what students do, they get. So when we have law firms on the campus, we find that we are not very happy with the skills addition and knowledge level of the student. And now, unfortunately, students have so many distractions in the form of social media, in the form of screen, and many other issues. So somehow we need to focus more on being mindful, or being in the moment, or understanding what the task is at hand. Then financing, also government has to look into this. Right now in India, we see that there are government institutions and there are private institutions. Maybe going forward, there can be synergy between government and private institutions, which is there, but it can be more. So there can be private public partnerships, because government has its own grants, and private players are coming in higher education in India. They have some amount of funding. So both can join hands and they can, bring better institutions. And then we need to focus on internationalization. Unless we focus on internationalization, there will be, a question mark on the quality of higher education. Institutions are international ranking would suffer. So, for internationalization, we need to have faculty from abroad. We need to have faculty student exchange. We need to have, maybe a semester abroad, which BCI is hesitant, but we can think because if it's for 1 or 2 semesters abroad, certainly they will have our faculty, they will have exposure to the best practices and there will be exchange of ideas. Like in engineering and other disciplines, there's no issue. So I see engineering student in the 4th year, they can spend both the semester in any education institution, abroad or India. Similarly, medicine is another area which is controlled very heavily by Medical Council of India. So I think now in this globalized world, when everything is available on a click of mouse, knowledge is quite in the reach of the people, and we have artificial intelligence coming in big way. So we need to understand that we need to have flexibility, especially for internationalization. And recently, Delhi High Court is listening a case, of minimum attendance requirement in classrooms. So they were suggesting that instead of having 70% or 67% classroom attendance and mandatory today's time, where most of the lectures are available online, our student can access all this thing online. So they were suggesting why not to have 40% attendance requirement, so that a student can develop, can focus more on practical aspect, can focus more on internships. So there can be always discussion on this, but we need to have more international exposure of faculty in both. Then curriculum development, when we are developing our curriculum, we need to understand that now United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are very, very important. And SDG Goal 4 focuses on education, though, and most of the goals are having some other focus on education. So they have a focus on elimination of poverty or life above ground, life below earth. So these all things are connected here and there with our education. So we need to see that where we can impact these sustainable development goals, because sustainability is a big question mark in today's time. And we see in Delhi NCR pollution levels are hazardous because the life here has become quite unsustainable. So you can't have people exposed to such high level of pollution, especially sick and aged and children. They will develop issues. Then universities, they should focus more on academic work. A lot of time of faculty and student goes in non-academic work. That also has to be taken into consideration. And somehow there is a requirement of bigger focus or greater focus on research, because unless we develop that research ecosystem, then faculty citation won't improve, and unless faculty citation improves, the QS ranking will remain always a question mark. And in higher education institution abroad, most of the Indians are teaching. So we need to develop an ecosystem where bright people they don't leave nation, or if they have left nation, they come back and join them. And curriculum should be regularly revised. It should be socially relevant. It should not happen that same curriculum which was revised decades back is being taught. This problem is very acute in government institutions. There you cannot change anything, and you need a lot of work, board of studies, academic council to change even small things. Here, private education institutions have greater facilities, and they can change things faster. And there is a lot of competition also. So if they are not competitively advantageous, they will not survive. So I think this spirit is also required, the survival of the fittest. Somehow in government sector, a tendency, comes that now job is secure and we are getting admissions. So why to walk extra mile? I think that tendency needs change. Though there are good people working hard in government and private both, but the number can go. And we need to have think tank of senior academicians, industry experts, policy makers who can frequently sit together and who can discuss the key issues which are facing the higher education. Somehow, I think the discussion takes place regularly, but action is not taken on those discussions. Our action taken is very less. Or if I can say so, there is some amount of distrust also between policymakers, between academicians, especially in legal education. I find that law professors are not allowed to practice, and it's a professional course is required to know the practical aspect of legal education without teacher knowing the legal education practical aspect. So this is something which need to be discussed and some measures taken where this issue is resolved. And I'm told by seniors that previously law teachers were allowed to practice, and some law teachers were not taking classes; they were only practicing. So they have thrown baby with the water. They have stopped practice altogether. So maybe we can have more practitioners coming this side and more um, classical teachers going into courtrooms so that we exchange of ideas. Because right now the advocates who have very good practice, they don't have time to come to education institutions. And those who are not doing so well in their practice, they want to come to education institutions. So that is not solving any problem. And this bureaucratic way of functioning should give way to professional functioning. Then National Education Policy 2020 is focusing a lot that our educators should not become job seeker only after getting education. They should be our job givers because opportunities have to be more. So when I see that, especially law institutes, I see some good institutions, they seek a job at the initial stage and they join law firms. But after a few years, I see they start their own ventures and they get job. So this is nice. And in this way, we can have our curriculum so designed, like in my law school, we have designed our curriculum in such a way that we have 60 courses and close to 40 courses are focusing on employment so that they could get employment. And then the leftover courses are split into entrepreneurship skills and soft skills. So initially they look for employment and course is also so designed. After getting employment with law firms, after a few years, they start their own entrepreneurs or their own law firms. So this is something nice that student of 21st century is more confident, is more knowledgeable, is ready to take risk, is ready to collaborate. So I'm sure University of Future should focus on these aspects also. And we can have right now student comes into 5 year law especially, and he is bound for the whole complete 5 years. Sometimes this becomes a very long period of time. So there can be some exit. Maybe after 1 year, some diploma can be given. After 3 years, normal degree of law can be given. In many countries, in developed nations, they give after 3 years degree of law. Those students can't practice. So for practicing, they have to do some internship or some other courses. Are they to clear some big courses? So same model can be adopted because today youth is very impatient. They sometimes think that 5 years is a long time and then they join law education altogether. Then teaching learning evolution is another area where we can have now going forward we can use AI in a big way. There can be exams and demand because right now big number of students they come into exam pressure and teachers also they are bound to devote a lot of their time into examinations. So we can have now AI tools which can devise different questions, maybe Questions can be application based, they can be descriptive, analytical, they can be long answers, short answers, so depending upon the teacher's course, curriculum, modules, they can design. And it's very easy to design questions by AI tools, and AI will evaluate them also. And let student be given three chances that you can take exam whenever you want. And recently, in one of the leading national universities of the India, uh, they reduced 30% of their syllabus because there were some sad incidents. And then they, waived off midterm exam. Then they gave them choice that you can give exam, enter examination in December or in Jan Feb. This reduce the anxiety and stress of the student to great extent. So education should not be, a pressure for teacher or taught both. It should be a easy, way of educating ourselves. So we need to think all those tools. Then research and development is a big area. Most of the ranking accreditation bodies, they give large weightage to research, and unless funding is done by government or by private players, research will not happen. And somehow the research funding in India is absolutely low. It needs to go up. There is no other way. And government has to take the lead because government cannot expect private sector to put money where they feel that it doesn't serve. So government has to understand it's a social responsibility of government primarily. But then all said and done, government has their own priorities. Somehow higher education is not priority area of the government. Primary education is, and health and employment and so many. We have a large country with less money. So we have 1.4 billion population, and we are a $3.5 trillion economy, which makes government job very tough. So we can make our wish list, but then government has several compulsions. And when we see United States of America, they are, hardly 33 crore population and with 25 trillion economy. So we can just see the difference. Or if we compare with China, just imagine $1 trillion surplus they have right now, which is a huge money, and we have export income, import deficit. So government they are also hard pressed for funding options. But then if that is the case, then they can go for PPP model. They can have, because now a lot of private institutions are coming forward in higher education. That is a good thing. Traditionally in India, if you see, most of the institutions were set up by minority bodies or by private people, which are doing very good. If you see SRCC, St. Stephen's, many Gargi, AMU, then BHU, these are institutions were set up by individuals. So individuals can come forward if government has their own issue. Then administrative reforms, I told that now government is coming up with a lot of policy reforms. So we have national education policy, which is coming up, which has come up with a lot of good reforms. But this is not applicable to legal education. Then we see many states now, giving a lot of encouragement to higher education. So we have now maybe two, three players have come. One university is coming in Gurgaon, one has come in Gujarat, Daikar University. So maybe next 4 5 years we have good campuses in India. Somehow India missed the bus. Otherwise, you see Dubai, they have a great number of higher education institutions from abroad. We have higher education institutions from abroad in Malaysia and Indonesia. Somehow we missed the bus. And one of the reason I can speculate is that we focus, government of India is not aligned profit making institutions in higher education. So we emphasis on not-for-profit, institutions. That remains one of the issue whenever foreign institutions they want to come to India. So let us see this will change in times to come. So we have Danford University, and we also have a university from UK, which is setting up campus. So this national education, policy 2020 is a very good change. So now it says that they want to increase this gross urban ratio from 25% to 50% in next 10 years. So for that, we need large number of institutions. So we can't double what we have because that will need a lot of investment. That is not possible. So maybe we have to go online mode or distance education, different modes. So current infrastructure can be utilized, or maybe AI can be used for courses which doesn't need regular classes. Our classes can be far and few. Then we need to have multidisciplinary education in research universities. So now many IITs are having medical colleges, or many one of the IITs have law schools also, and our IITs are going abroad also. So there's a change. So we need to have a focus on open and distance learning programs because they don't need infrastructure, and FSR issue is also not there. And I see many universities are enrolling large number of students in open and distance learning programs. And even UGC allowing now 2 degrees simultaneously. So these are the good changes. And then we need to have global collaborations, and we need to expand our campuses. So I see many universities are setting up their campuses all over. So this is good because we need to have all this for higher GER. We need to have more than 80% GER to become a developed nation. So maybe by 2035 we are having a target of 50% GER. Maybe by 2047 we have a target of 75% minimum GER. That will make India a developed nation to a great extent. So we see in last 15 years, a lot of changes are happening, and I'm sure next 10 years will be much more changes. So as I was mentioning, that IIT Madras is setting up its first international campus in Zanzibar, Tanzania. So Asia and Africa, they are populous continents. We can't be America and Europe centric. We can, look east, and we can have maybe global south to expand. So PPP model is certainly one of the options this government can weave. But the question is that private players, they somehow are not comfortable with the quality control and with the bureaucratic approach of the government setup. So I have made some, slides on how we can make this equity and hybrid model, or we can outsource, some things to private or public. So when we see the PPP model, the strength is additional resources because there will be more funds, knowledge, infrastructure, and technology. Because private players, private industries, they have wonderful infrastructure, and funds are also to some extent are better than government. Then industry, academia, enterprise will be also there. Right now, somehow the people who are in the private universities or private law colleges, they are not given same, footing as government people are given, though it is changing to some extent. Then skill set also will improve because this collaboration will help conduct more events. Then innovation also because private players, they have to sustain, they have to survive, they have to be ahead of the curve. That will spur them to be always innovating their ways. But then weakness, there can be issue of objective misalignment because somehow the government institutions, they are not on numbers, and private institutions are on number by and large. So admissions and start with them funding, then budgets, then expenditures, all that comes into play. Then work culture also the issue because we see private higher education institutions, uh, timings are followed, less number of holidays, 6 days week by and large. but in government setup, it's quite, relaxed. So more vacations, working hours also relaxed, and there's a culture. So there can be this issue also. Then role and responsibility, who will lead and who will be part of the team? That can be an issue because if private players are putting their money, they will certainly like to have more say in the decision making, which government players may not be willing to give. And then quality control right now, as I told you, we have government bodies, UGC, BCI, MCI, which are controlling the quality. But in PP model, who will have how much say? That will be again an issue. Then opportunities, infrastructure support will come in a big way. Then curriculum can be changed as per the requirement because right now in private it is easier, in government setup it is difficult. So that also will change for good. Then global exposure. I see private universities supporting their faculty and institute to some extent, and global exposure, some government institutions supporting, some not supporting at all. So that also will improve. The research partnership also will improve because private players they have wherewithal to support research, but somehow they don't have good human resources. So there both can synergize. And threat is if we see this PPP model, somewhere it has been successful, somewhere it has not been successful. But if in higher education it doesn't succeed, the cost will be in the form of it will pay the price. Then there will be always class of interest because private sector they look for financial success and government is looking for social issue. We don't have a regulatory approach. We had National Education Policy 2020. And in that, it was, designed that there will be regulator. Now, 5 years are in progress. Regulator is now going to be seen. So, government, is working in their own ways, but unless we have regulator, there will be issue. And funding also will be issue because private players sometimes may look for government for funding, and either way. And PPP model certainly will push up the cost for the resident because right now, if a resident in government setup is paying less fees, they will be certainly required to pay more fees. So, if I can conclude, higher education system in India is growing at a rapid pace, and now with the technology, especially post-COVID, now we are technology savvy. So we have online and distance learning mode, and we have private players joining the bandwagon. And I'm sure government is also now serious about making higher education a priority. So that is all. I'm sure that government uh, objective of having 50% GER by 2035, this will be achieved much before that time. So with these words, on a very optimistic note, I end my talk. Thank you very much for this opportunity once again.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful detail talk on this our future of higher education institution in India. So now I request faculty members any question query from your side. You can put it in the chat box or you can raise your hand. Any questions? Sir, any insight on the interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary approach in HEIs in future, like for the development of HEIs?
Okay, very good question. See, legal education per se is interdisciplinary only. Because if we have BLLB or BBLLB programs, so we have, non-law courses. So in BA, we have 12 non-law courses, and in BBA, we have 12, BBA courses. So legal education has, lot of plan of many courses.
Sir, we
And
have
future,
participant.
yeah.
Sorry, sir. You have participant for other disciplines also, some participants. So
Yeah. So,
and
and future of research is merging of two disciplines only. So we have to have this interdisciplinary approach. As I was mentioning, IIT Kharagpur is focusing on, IPR studies of law, and they have a law college which is doing wonderful in IPR. So every institution can develop their own, strength, and they can have multidisciplinary approach.
True, sir. Recently, they have started also master public policy also.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Many IITs are now planning to have medical colleges. So that is, credit goes to National Education Policy 2020, which is
true,
focusing
true,
on multidisciplinary
true, true, sir.
approach.
Yes. And then there is a good scope in liberal studies also going on last few years.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah, yeah. Future is multidisciplinary approach only.
sure. Sure. Couple of participants. We'll be starting with Savik Guha and then Sami. You've
Yes,
raised your hand. Yeah.
thank you, Professor Gupta, and thanks a lot to Professor Kuleshrestha for this wonderful session. Since you were very rightly talking about the ways in which the Indian universities can, compete in the global scene insofar as the rankings and other kinds of profile is concerned, and I just had a couple of questions about which I would like to learn your viewpoint. One is that with all these institutions, the global institutions with whom our universities will be competing in all of these rankings, there are a couple of common features that are seen almost in all universities which do very well in these rankings. One is that almost all of them have identified the factor that it is not possible for all kinds of faculty members to be equally good at teaching and research. So, but there are a lot of people who do very well in research. They have what it takes. They can procure funding. But given the kind of workload which is usually given to them, the teaching workload from the university perspective, I mean, they're simply not able to do that. And so we are essentially competing with universities where the UK universities, the assistant professor's weekly workload is 6 hours of classes and the associate professor is 4 hours. I mean, that's not something which the Indian universities have yet got around, chiefly because of the fact that we have way too many number of students and the faculty teacher student ratio is very low comparatively at most universities. So that I think is a big issue, and it requires a change in perspective, because if not, then we are completely operating in two different levels. And for that purpose, I think we also should take into consideration having specific, in the case of faculty who will be dedicated towards research, especially, of course, they will have to show the goods for that. But that's also not something which any public university has done to the best of my knowledge, especially law universities. I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you, sir.
Can I have a question? What is the question?
Yeah, the question is that do you think that it is, if we have to compete well in the global with the global universities in these rankings, it is time for two things. One is have a dedicated cadre of faculty who maybe have very good research portfolio and allow them to do research for the purpose of the university and integrate that into curriculum for which their teaching load can be rationalized. And the other thing is it actually fair for the Indian faculty to have to compete with the foreign faculty, wherein UGC actually requires our assistant professors to teach 10 plus hours, and I mean that the teaching workload is completely different.
Okay. Yeah. See, you have very good question, and you answered it to some extent also. I have seen some universities in India. Now they have reduced teaching load to of those faculty who want to focus on research. And we see most of the ranking, they have 20% weightage in research. So, and they have 80% weightage on other areas also. So, certainly we can have faculty who are good researchers, they can be given less teaching load. But practically what happens, I have seen that a faculty who's had 12 hours teaching load is giving research output also. And when they reduce load, it doesn't happen. I don't know what is the reason. But certainly, if a faculty is a researcher, they can reduce load can be given. And some institutions are also doing, because there are two responsibilities with the higher education institution. It's a teaching responsibility and researching both. So we have to do justice to ISRID also. I have seen some institutions where faculty who are researchers, they are not available for resident to teach. So somewhere ISRID are also deprived of their knowledge. So maybe some mix and match approach can be taken, that those who are researching, they can be given less teaching hours, and those who are having less research aptitude or interest, they can be given more teaching load. That mix and match approach we can have. And somebody suggested that we can remove this retirement age for teachers. We can because in the USA, many institutions they don't have retirement age for judges and professors. We can have that, but then we are a big nation and employment is an issue. So if we remove retirement age, then maybe next generation will wait for our demise. Then only they will get jobs. So, and on a lighter note, that may hit job prospects of younger people.
It happens at many places. Older, they are 60 plus, 70 plus, still they are there, and younger, they are really waiting.
Yeah.
So this I have here faced, sir.
So it's a difficult question to answer. But many
Negative.
nations have retirement age. In Germany, there's a retirement age for teachers.
Next, Sami, over to you.
Hello, good morning, sir. Am I
Yeah,
audible too?
yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
Yes, sir. Sir, I just want to ask one thing. Sir, what are your insights regarding provision of research scholars allotting classes in the universities? So whether you see that it's good for their practice and improving their skills, which definitely I also believe so, or you see that it would be like a little bit of injustice regarding the students to whom we are teaching.
Okay.
Like,
I
yeah.
understood the question. See,
Yes.
in LLM, one of the objective of LLM is that some of the student after LLM they will clear NET, and they will join teaching profession. So practically, I saw one student. She was doing LLM and she came from practice, and I suggested her to take some classes, and she took some 5 hours classes of contract act because the teacher was not available, and then she found out that teaching was her passion. And then she cleared that, she did PhD, and now she's a professor with a leading law institute. So sometimes the institute who is pursuing LLM or PhD, they want to join as teacher. They have to be, if they are interested, they can be given teaching load under supervision of some teacher. Because it should not happen that LLM and PhD students are given teaching load and they are not justifying the requirement. So sometimes I have seen some students who are pursuing LLM or who are pursuing PhD. They are extraordinary. They are second to none. That they can be given option of teaching, and they can be so that they can find their passion and they can be great teachers of future.
Next, sure. Thank you very much, sir. Next question from Dr. Devendra. Over to you.
So in the meanwhile, there's a question in the chat box. Maybe if you
Yeah,
could
you
take
could. I'll read.
I think he has, Dr. Devendra has already posted that. I
Yes,
think.
yes, I have
Dr.
posted.
Devendra, are you the? Yeah, please, over to you.
Why the UGC net is made as compulsory parameter? Because I am asking this in all the bodies, and UGC net is being made as a parameter. Earlier, it was only for when they started, it was only for assistant professor. Then later they included JRF, and now they included the PhD parameter. Like they have to qualify that, and then only get into admission. That is one criteria just to demark the subject of the knowledge. But many of the net qualified so-called scholars or teachers are not proficient in teaching, which I've come across in my teaching experience of 25 years. And that's the reason now they bring this UGC net certificate and tell that we need an assistant professor job. But when we ask them to take a class for at least PG class for 2 hours, they are not able to take class for 2 hours.
You have a point, but then we also we and many other private law schools, they are taking non-net also, and they are doing quite well. But
That's what
yeah,
that's what is my concern. Like, should we really depend upon UGC net is the criteria first thing,
see,
because
wherever I understood your point, but wherever see, mandatory and government institutions perhaps are bound by it. But
okay,
private institutions are not, they are also bound, but they are experimenting with this. So we have taken some non-net and they are doing quite good. So
yeah,
some,
better than the net qualified. And because net qualified has so many roster system of parameter like caste, equa, creed, creamy layer, non-creamy layer, etc. This even I have addressed this to the secretary of the chairman of UGC, that you have brought in the changes with reference to PG where they can do PhD directly after a 4-year bachelor's. But why don't you bring a change for UGC NET or postgraduate teachers who are not able to take the class for 2 hours on a particular topic? Because normally 2 hours is a PG class. Even in our institution, we tell that PG classes should be taken for 2 hours, and the teachers are tired, like after the 2 hours, like we don't get input to teach for 2 hours. That means I feel that they are not qualified either NET or they are not qualified for the teachers, even though they have the certificate of that NET.
I agree with you. But you have a point.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we are done with all the questions. Already it's 12:30. So I request Parinita over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear all, as we conclude our 7 days executive development program, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our speaker for the day, that is Dr. Kulshrestha, for sharing invaluable insights and knowledge with us. Your insights into this topic have expanded our understanding and knowledge. The strategies you shared for fostering innovative growth are invaluable and will surely guide us in our professional endeavors. I would also like to express my gratitude to all the participants for your active engagement and enthusiasm, especially on a Sunday. Your commitment to learning has made this program a success. Thank you once again for your participation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So,
Thank you.
thank you, participants. Now we'll open for, we'll take maybe 10, 15 minutes for the oral feedback. So anything like to say, any feedback or what was the experience last 1 week? So please introduce yourself, name, designation, institution, and then say something. Anyone?
Myself, Dr. Devendra,
Yes, sir.
professor and principal at Oxford College of Hotel Management and Tourism. We offer hotel management and tourism at both undergraduate and postgraduate. We are planning to go for research in this. So the input what I have got from this executive development program is very useful, and we wanted to bring it in practice. And certain things we only tell about the theoretical aspects, but bringing in practice it is becoming very difficult. So hope this kind of programs will enhance not only the higher authorities or the top management of the institutions, even the lower authorities or the middle management should take the keen on developing this as a strategy and then try to improve, not sticking on to certain parameters which is being prescribed. Like example, when they tell research, they'll tell after your PhD, your research is over. But as far as my experience, your research starts only post PhD. The PhD has been made very simple that even without a publication, you can get a PhD. So after PhD, you have to do the publication. That is one thing what is my concern. And every time Dr. Kalpesh workshop, I am attending without fail. And all the workshops are literally useful. That's the reason I keep out my time schedule and attend because the speakers are very good and from the varied versatile field of higher education, not only concentrating on one part of the field, like only one faculty, though he is from the law background, all other disciplines background are covered. That is more appreciable in this kind of workshop. Any more workshops, please inform us. We are already in the group. And also, I just need a clarification regarding the test and the payment part of it. Like how to,
Sir, we'll take those things, sir, offline or message.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Kritika Chaudhary, over to you. Kritika. I request participant, we will close in 10 minutes. So please, you won't be
Yes,
taking much time.
good afternoon, everyone. So I am a PhD scholar at Symbiosis International University, and I've just started my teaching career. And this entire program was quite advanced for me, but I think with every day, with every session, I have an important learning, and I think after today, I will definitely walk out as a better teacher. And I'm extremely grateful because it was very well organized. The speakers and the experts that were giving us insights. It was I have attended several FDPs earlier, but especially in an online mode, the robust nature of this entire development program was very helpful for even young people like me. Like even at the very beginning of my teaching and research career, this entire session has a lot of important takeaways that that I have ingrained. So thank you, everybody. So yeah, and I would love to be associated with this entire community for any other future seminars and programs as well.
Thank you, Kritika. We have learned this thing, after years. So it's good that you learned at this stage. It will help.
Yes, yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
it's good. So we are
Thank you.
late in learning. So nobody took the initiative at our time. Yeah.
Yes, I
Next.
think it was a very much needed discussion. So I'm like extremely elated to walk out after this 1 week EDP.
Sure.
And not
Okay.
even once I felt that, sessions were going monotonous or I'm not able, I actually was able to prioritize this with full interest. So that speaks a lot.
Okay. Thank you. Next, Sami.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm Shami Soni. Sir, I'm a research scholar at Banaras Hindu University, Faculty of Law. Sir, the webinar on higher education development program was highly insightful and well organized. And the main thing I like the most about the seminar is that the interactive question and answer segment, which allowed the participants to clarify doubts and share perspectives regarding their insights and all of that. Overall, the webinar was excellent initiative to address the critical issues in higher education and inspire meaningful changes. I look forward to more such sessions in the future, sir. Thank you so much to let us be part of such a great seminar.
Thank you very much, Sami. Any other participant? We have more 2-3 minutes and then we'll close. Yes. Anyone? I think we are done. Already we have floated Google form. Please fill it out. You can speak here also, other than typing in chat box. Yes. Any last? Okay. Dr. Rajeshri, over to you.
Vishwas sir, can we end the program, Alpesh sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to. So I've shared the screen. I hope everybody can see it. The screen is
Yes.
shared, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. A very good afternoon to one and all. So we at Soundarya College of Law, keeping in mind the needs and requirements of young academicians and researchers, so we have organized this 1 week online executive development program on leadership and administration in higher education institutions from January 13th to 19th of 2025. As we all know, so you have come to the 7th day of this EDP. So we started our day one on 17th of January 2025. So we had the chief guest who inaugurated the EDP, Professor Dr. C. Basuraju, the Honorable
Sorry,
Vice
Mr.
Chancellor of Karnataka State.
Sorry,
Yes.
Mr. Vishwas, can you change the slide? I think it's on the first slide only.
Sorry, but what do you want me to do?
Please
Can
change the
you
slide.
please change the slides? You can put it in slideshow.
It is in slideshow for me. It's not in slideshow.
No.
It's,
I think
and
because
you
of
can, yeah, it's visible now,
It's visible.
but it's went to slide 3.
Hold on, I'll come back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is fine. It's fine, Mr. Vishwas, this is fine.
Yeah. Yes. So we had Dr. C. Basuraj, who the chief guest of the day one, who addressed or highlighted the importance of financial management in higher education institutions. And the resource person for day one of our EDP, and the topic was on leadership strategy in higher educations. Professor Manoj Kumar Sinha, Vice Chancellor of Dharma Shastra National Law University, delivered his insights on leadership strategy in higher education institutions. Dr. Sinha highlighted the role of practical learning, extracurricular activities, and innovative teaching methodologies in shaping effective higher education system. And day two, we had Professor Dr. Purvi Pokhriyal, Campus Director, Dean, School of Law, Forensic Justice and Policy Studies, National Forensic Science University, Delhi campus. So we discussed education essence, nation building, state of higher education in India, and foundational governance pillars. And it was made clear that
Mr. Vishwas, sorry for interruption. Please change the slide. I don't know, it may be happening, but technical issue. It is on slide number 2 right now.
No, okay, so slide 2 it is?
Slide 2 right now.
Okay. All right. So in day 2, we all learned about Professor Purvi shed valuable lights on organizational structure and orgograms. All right. So I'm in slide 3. Has it changed for you all?
No, it's
So no problem. I
chapter number
think we can share the slides with the participants later on.
Yes. Anyways, yeah, I think okay. So day 3 was exciting indeed. So we had a Professor Dr. M.R.K. Prasad, Professor of Law, VM Salgavkar College of Law, Goa. So this session covered teaching objectives, relevance of the learning pyramid in curriculum design, curriculum development components, effective selection of extracurricular activities, incorporating arts and creativity, and significance of moot court and problem framing techniques and assessment rubrics. On day 4, so we had the topic for the day was financing in higher education institution. Professor Dr. Y.S.R. Murthy, Vice Chancellor of Assam Royal Global University, was the resource person for the day. Sir discussed on the successful leadership attributes by quoting real life scenarios when NASA janitor's role anecdote was full of wisdom. Sir discussed on transformational leadership, vision, empowerment, and motivation. We also learned about the additional skills development for educators, continuous professional learning, and there was a clear expenditure planning that has to be done by institution, which is in alignment with NAG, was discussed on day 4. And day 5, so we had Professor Anand Prakash Mishra, Director of Administration at O.P. Jindal Global University. The topic of the day was human resource management in higher education institutions. Professor Mishra highlighted the role of HR in institutional success and shared best practices. He stressed the importance of the proper recruitment and staffing for long-term success. So day 6, yesterday, Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh, Dean Faculty of Law, SRM University, Delhi, addressed on teaching and research in higher education institution. Sir engaged the participants in discussions on what HAI wants, and he provided a comprehensive presentation on HAI management, gross enrollment ratio, major problems in higher education. And we also learned about Dr. Radhakrishnan report on curriculum and delivery, capacity building of teachers, NPS scorecharts, government expenditure, research ecosystem, and driving researchers in HAIs. And he also highlighted government initiatives to foster a robust ecosystem in the higher education system. So I'll put to the full screen. I think it's on full screen.
No,
All right.
Mr. Joshi.
So now, yes, anyways, once again, so we have come to the end of our 7 days EDP program. So with this, it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of everyone present here and to express our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed resources persons. Firstly, to Professor Dr. Pradeep Kulashreshtha for their invaluable contributions to this session. So along with the resource persons, so we are deeply thankful for the time and efforts you invested in preparing and delivering such an informative sessions, and the passions of all the resource persons for their subject and their willingness to share their knowledge have provided us with new perspectives and tools to apply in our respective domain. On behalf of Soundarya College of Law and Law Teachers India, I extend our sincere gratitude for being a part of this event and making it so impactful. The resource person's presence and contributions have truly elevated the quality of this program. And once again, thank you for all the resource person for their invaluable time, efforts, and insights. So we hope to have the pleasure of learning from you again in the future. And next we have Dr. Kalpesh L. Gupta, founder, Law Teachers India. A special thanks to our knowledge partner, Law Teachers India, for their generous support and belief in our vision. We are thankful to Dr. Kalpesh for his incredible efforts towards advancement, support, and developmental reforms in legal education, without whom this event would not have been possible. Thank you very much, Dr. Kalpesh.
Thank you.
So with this, so we are immensely thankful to Sri Kirtan Kumar M, CEO of Soundarya Educational Trust, Bangalore, whose guidance and direction have been invaluable in shaping this conference. Sir's passion and leadership have set the tone for a truly inspiring and impactful event. And also we have Dr. Rajeshri K, Principal, Soundarya College of Law. I extend my deepest gratitude to Principal Dr. Rajeshri K for her meticulous planning, unwavering dedication, and hard work. From conceptualizing the agenda to ensuring smooth execution, your efforts have been exemplary, and this event would not have been possible without your vision and commitment to excellence. Thank you, madam. And to all the most venerable, learned, intellectual, and amicable friends, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the participants who joined for this conference. Your presence, enthusiasm, and active engagement have been instrumental in creating a vibrant and collaborative atmosphere. Your thoughtful contributions during the discussions have truly enriched our understanding and broadened our perspectives. Thank you for all the participants. And lastly, the team. Finally, the team who contributed in various capacity, Ms. Pranita Pai, Mr. Abhijit, Ms. Monisha, the assistant professors at Soundarya College of Law. So they have contributed, be it logistics, hospitality, moderation, digital creatives, Google Forms, assessment, feedback collections, or content curation. Your efforts have created a memorable and impactful gathering. So this conference has been a testament to the power of collaboration and teamwork, and the credit goes to each one of you. And thank you, team. And lastly, once again, to everyone who has been part of this journey, thank you for making this EDP not just an event, but an experience to remember. As we depart, let us carry forward the knowledge we have gained and the connections we have made and work towards creating meaningful impacts in our respective domains. Thank you. Over to Dr. Kalpesh.
No, I have nothing to say. Like, it was a great experience, I would say, and grateful and feeling like every day, like I would say empowered, delighted. Like, we started this initiative because I would say I have not seen this kind of initiative. I think it may be there, like, might have conducted by UGC or maybe any regulatory body. But this was, we conducted many program, but this was something out of box that we, chalked out with deliberation, like, because I wanted to have something unique that's a fruitful, not done before, especially last couple of years, I would say. But again, it come out very well, very precise, very concise. And as we discussed, right, we should send this report, right, whatever we have done to UGC and ministry, various departments, and other concerned bodies. So with this, I request over to Dr. Rajeshri, your concluding mark. I'm done
Thank
from
you.
my side.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Kalpesh. It was really a pleasure to work with you. When the main reason as to why we wanted to bring forth this program was when I myself was thinking on doing such a program. Such programs were very expensive, and then we thought that this is something which needs to be brought to each and every one of you. And that's when we, took this initiative and collaborated, put forth all the resource persons, and I must say this has been a great learning experience for myself and my team at Soundarya. And I hope that each one of you have had some or the other takeaways every day. And we look forward to having many more such sessions in the future. Thank you so much for your support, cooperation, and we look forward to engaging with you more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, participant, for being throughout the session. And some participant I have seen, they are not able to, watch, attend sessions online because, timings are there like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, but they have attended. I have got many messages. They have seen. That's why we facilitated recording immediately. And thanks to Pranita. So she did like by 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And then after that, uploading on YouTube, that I was doing around 10 or 11 p.m. So that thing, I think please keep sharing in your group also, because who have made not part of this program. It's not about certificate, it's all about learning that we able to put at particular places in form of recording. So thank you very much. Look forward to you in future events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.